I am tired of people coming up to me with this assumption that cryptocurrency is just for criminals. And the reason that this incorrect assumption is so prevalent is because there are so many articles in mainstream media purporting this to be true. I just saw this article yesterday in the Wall Street Journal. The crypto crime wave is here. Stick ups and drug deals, white collar scams. We got a long article here with a bunch of anecdotal stories of crime in cryptocurrency. I was so annoyed that I decided to email the author. And, one thing that she even put in her article herself is this: thefts of Bitcoin increased from 3 million in 2013 to 89 million last year. So I look at the percentage of growth here. Clearly, the value of Bitcoin, certainly cryptocurrency, is growing far faster than the crime rate. So that tells me that the crime is on the decline, according to her own statistic. Now I send an email. Maybe I'll get into the details of it in a minute, but she replied back, "Oh, I have answers to your questions here." And she sends me this article, which also confirms that crime is not on the rise. Dark markets no longer a major use of Bitcoin. So it's true. In 2014, Silk Road, there was a lot of crime. I don't know the total percentage. It was high at that time. There was a lot going on with crime on Bitcoin. It was clamped down. It's not the story anymore. Hasn't been. And we can see here this graph showing. This is on dark markets. I guess this sort of represents crime declining as the value of Bitcoin increases. It's just not, so, even if, the author really feels that, and I shouldn't be feels, we should have actual statistics that the crime rate is too high. And what is that? Because there's crime with dollars. I believe that people do steal. Bernie Madoff used dollars, and when it was reported how he stole billions, no one blamed it on dollars. So is the crime rate in cryptocurrency actually higher than it is in dollars? I don't know. I'd like to see some stats on that. Maybe it's a little higher. Maybe it's lower. Whatever it is, it's well under 1%, which means that 99% of all people in cryptocurrency are not criminals. So why have an article that is 100% about crime? And it gives the impression that that's what it's all about. And even I saw this tweet today. I think this is the owner of Binance. He said, "I'm not even going to do interviews with anyone who doesn't own crypto because I repeatedly have to answer, are Bitcoins only used by drug lords?" And it's so true. That's, people are just like, it's only for crime. And that is not the case. So what else do I want to tell you here? Let's see what else I wrote in this email. I mentioned that. We mentioned that. So right. So this reminds me of another point here that I think is really interesting. Here's another great book, by the way. Scale, Universal Laws of Growth. Really talks about scaling and how things scale. Very interesting, especially with the topic of how these cryptocurrency networks need to scale. One thing that, it helped me to understand this concept, which is, I believe, true. So with cryptocurrency, as the Bitcoin market grows, crime in cryptocurrency will grow. And we talk about, well, we need regulations because we don't want crime rate to grow. Like if we get rid of regulations or we loosen regulations, there'll be more crime. Okay, so the 1% of crime that exists now will go up if cryptocurrency or unregulated markets happen. But if we have unregulated markets with a better form of money, hard money, then innovation, economic growth, many value creations also increase quickly. So the scaling laws, this book may argue that the percentage of crime, if you got rid of regulations, would stay the same. Because although crime would increase, the benefits from the 99% are not criminals would increase sort of at the same rate, or it would sort of stay in line. Maybe the crime rate would even go down, which is counterintuitive. Get rid of regulations and the crime rate goes down. How's that possible? Because crime would go up. Well, if almost every company, which is not criminal, is freed to innovate and build, then you see the economy grow and the percentage of crime does not increase. Okay. And, at a similar point to this, I mentioned in this email about, cars, right? Cars have caused deaths. There are more deaths because of cars. But we don't put car crashes, and there are many every day, on the news every night, unless it's Tesla, of course. But otherwise, we don't put it on the news because we know the value created from having cars is much greater than the unfortunate loss of and injuries that come from car crashes. It's a horrible thing. But we know that it's this tiny percent. And if there are more cars, and there's going to be more accidents, but it's also going to be greater ability to travel and make the world a better place. And Tesla, although is the only one in the news when there's a car crash, actually is the only one who looks like it could reduce the number of car crashes. So I'm getting off topic here, but and then she didn't reply to my other point, which I think is really important. If you want to talk about there's a lot of crime in cryptocurrency, you can't just say there's a lot. It has to be in reference to, well, compared to dollars, right? So, what is the crime rate in dollars? There have been thefts with U.S. dollars. When Bernie Madoff, what did he steal? Billions of dollars? Nobody blamed the U.S. dollar. But now with cryptocurrency, you don't even need to trust third parties. It may be harder. I know there's a lot of Ponzi's now in the cryptocurrency because we have so many uneducated young kid investors falling for that stuff. But I looked at BitConnected in 1 second. I knew it was a scam. Bernie Madoff was a little harder to see. And I think in the long run, because there's no fractional reserve. Well, anyways, the bottom line is, what is the crime rate in U.S. dollars? And the other thing, if we're going to calculate that, inflation and bailouts are a form of secret theft against the financially uneducated, or at least savers. I mean, even me, I'm pretty educated, but when the bailouts or inflation come, there's like nowhere to run. Now, maybe Bitcoin will be a place to run. We'll see on the next bailouts coming soon to a news channel near you. Can't wait for the next bailout show. By the way, Creature from Jekyll Island. What a great story! What a great book that is too, about the bailouts and the Bitcoin Standard. Another great book. But anyways, you can't just say there's a lot of crime unless you compare it to U.S. dollars, which also has crime, and there'll always be crime. And when cryptocurrency was created, nobody said, "Oh, now that we have this, there won't be any more crime." Of course there will be, but what? And another point too, this article talks about, oh, and there's privacy coins. Oh my God, people want privacy. How dare they? U.S. dollars do allow privacy. Well, there's a lot. Do you know how much crime is committed with U.S. dollars around the world? Is there more as a percentage in cryptocurrency? I don't know. But there is a desire to have some privacy without being a criminal. Things like if someone gets my public address, they can see all the money I have in that, the transactions where I sent in and out, and it reveals everything. If I'm in a negotiation with someone and I want to show them I have enough money, but I don't want to show them everything. There's needs. And whoever, if you're listening to this, and I'm sure this author as well, if someday all your money is going to be digital, I'm sorry, whether you like it or not, we're going there. Do you want all of your money public? I understand we have now. It's like, oh, I'm just going to let the government see it. But listen, it's just, it's not centralized anymore. It's centralization. It's going away. So there is a desire to have some privacy, even if you're not a criminal. Speaking of not criminals, look at, these people I follow on Twitter. All of these people are great, and none of them are criminals. amazing that I was able to find so many crypto leaders who are not, in fact, criminals. By the way, if you want to see who I follow, my Twitter, Dave Levine 0com. And I go to conventions, conferences, and here on this YouTube channel. I don't bump into, I don't see any criminals. I think there's some people that are financially uneducated and there may be other problems, but I don't think there's a lot of outright fraud. And even some of these, and there is fraud, but I think fraud exists in the real dollar world. A lot of these ICOs to me are a bunch of crap. Not because they're trying to steal, but just like anything. I mean, most people that come up and they say we're opening a restaurant, you probably roll your heads and go, "Oh God, are they going to lose money?" That's just the way. That's the way it is, right? So, um, was that everything? I think so. Did I mention this? I think I did. Um, I think I covered it all. So listen, Bitcoin, and one other point. Sorry, I'm forgetting what the heck I talked about because I had to make this video a second time. I don't know if I'm repeating myself, but there is a lot of evidence, or sorry, historical accounts. Again, read Bitcoin Standard is a great book. When there is hard money that is not debased, and also Creature from Jekyll Island, another great book, talks about how Constantine, in the whatever year that was, Constantinople, for 700 years had a gold coin that was not debased. When you have hard money that is not debased, you have periods of great economic growth and peace and prosperity. And when the printing gets out of hand and the debasement starts happening and people run away from money, you have chaos, crime, and economic decline. So the value of Bitcoin, I don't think anyone ever said, "Oh, good, they invented Bitcoin. Now no criminals are going to go away." But what we have said is that there's a better form of money. And this better form of money can make the world a better place, albeit with a small percent that will remain criminals. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you.